Next, let us start with crystal lattices and unit cell. A crystal can be imagined to be generated from the repetition of some basic unit of pattern, such as atoms, molecules, ions, or a group of ions. While representing the relative arrangement of these units in a cell, it is much more convenient to represent each unit of pattern by a point called lattice point, rather than drawing the entire unit of pattern. This results in a three-dimensional orderly arrangement of points called space lattice or a crystal lattice. Here you can see here the three-dimensional arrangement of constituent particles in a crystal is known as the crystal lattice or space lattice. Characteristics of a crystal lattice. Each point, as you can see here, each point in a lattice is called the lattice point or lattice site. Each point in a crystal lattice may be an atom, molecule, or an ion. The points that you can see here, the green color that you can see here, it can be either atoms, molecules, or ion, depending upon the type of solid. Lattice points are joined by straight lines to bring out the geometry of the lattice. Now, what is a unit cell? It is the smallest part of a crystal which has all the properties of the crystal and a regular repetition of which gives rise to the actual crystal lattice. So it is actually the smallest particle. That unit cell may be defined as a three-dimensional group of lattice points that generates the whole lattice by stacking. Characteristics of a unit cell. Its dimension along the three edges is shown here, A, B, and C. The three dimensions of the smallest part of the crystal, which is the unit cell, A, B, and C is shown here. There are angles. Angles between B and C, as you can see here, is written as alpha. Angles between C and A is beta. Angles between A and B is given here as gamma. A unit cell is characterized by 6 parameters: A, B, C, alpha, beta, and gamma. Next is the classification of unit cells. So there are different types of units. The smallest part of a lattice structure of a crystal lattice is called the unit cell. And this unit cell is of different types. We can classify these unit cells into mainly 3 different types. We'll go to the first one. First one is the simple unit cell or primitive unit cell. Remember, once again repeating, this is the smallest particle, smallest part of a crystal, which is called the unit cell. And that smallest part, there are different types of it. And the first one is the primitive unit cell or simple unit cell. A unit cell, as you can see here, the unit cell having lattice points only at the corners is called a simple, primitive, or a basic unit cell. So here the particles are only, in a primitive unit cell, constituent particles are present only on the corner positions of the unit cell. Next type is the centered unit cell. Centered unit cell actually are divided into 3. Face-centered unit cell, body-centered unit cell, and end-centered unit cell. And the first one is the face-centered unit cell. A unit cell having lattice points at the center of each face, in addition to the lattice points at the corners. That is, there are lattice points at the corners also, and also there are lattice points at the center of each face, and that is why it is named as face-centered unit cell. So what is written here? The particles are present not only at the corners but also at the center of each face of the unit cell. Body-centered unit cell. A unit cell having a lattice point at the center of the body in addition to lattice points at the corner. So there are lattice points at the corners also, and also there is one particle at the center of the body, and hence the name body centered unit cell. In addition to the particles at the corner, there is one present at the body center. You can find there one particle is present inside. Please go through it properly. One is in the center. So this type of unit cell is called body centered unit cell. Next is end-centered. From the name itself, it is clear. In an end-centered unit cell, there are lattice points in the face centers of only one set of the faces, in addition to lattice points at the corners of the unit cell. That is, just like the others, there are lattice points at the corners, but also there are lattice points in the face center of the face of only one set of faces. So, repeating it once again, in an end-centered unit cell, there are lattice points at the face centers of only one set of opposite faces. You can find here in the top and the bottom. In the center of the face, there is one particle, and also there are particles in the corner.